Hi guys, did you know that you can grow onions at home and save a ton of money? You can also have a far wider variety than what you can get in the store. And it's also going to be fresher because you're growing it yourself. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 6 varieties of onions I'll be planting for the 2025 growing season, and also how to choose the best ones for your area so that you have a wonderful, bountiful crop come summer. I'd like to welcome you to my backyard Kentucky homestead. My name is Kim, and let me show you what we need to do to get the seeds planted. So just a little bit of information about onions. They are a biennial crop, which means that they grow for 2 years. The first year they create the bulb, the second year they create flowers to create seeds to then propagate more generations of onions. You can choose to either plant seeds yourself or start with bulb sets. With sets, generally you're not going to get as large of a bulb because it's already going into its second year of life. So its primary focus is going to be to grow a little bit, but then it's going to go to flower. So you probably will not end up with as large of a bulb as is potentially possible when you start from seed. I am starting from seed, and with that means that I'm going to be generating the first year of this onion's life. And that is generally where you're going to get your really larger bulbs. Those are what you buy in the grocery store, our first year onions. That's why when you have onions at home that start to get old, they will start to grow because they're actually going into their second year of life. Again, you have so many varieties to choose from, especially online. You can get ones that are right for your area, for your climate, for your growing medium. So just a couple of factors that you want to consider. If you are starting from seed, you want to start probably at least 10 to 12 weeks before your average last frost date. Because what we want to do is have as large a plant as possible to put out there. Because as the daylight increases, depending on the type of seed that you've bought for your area, it will start to bulb when it hits a certain number of daylight hours. So we want to have as large of a root system and green stalk on that as we can before it bulbs out. So usually recommendation is 10 to 12 weeks before your average last frost, and you're actually going to transplant that at 4 to 6 weeks before your average last frost so that it will be outside and starting to grow. So for my area, my average last frost date is the end of April. So I'm targeting March 15th-ish to plant my seedlings out. Now, last year I did this, I started in January. My seedlings I don't think were large enough come that March 15th date. So I'm actually going to start a few weeks earlier. It is just after Christmas when I'm starting these because I want to have as large a plants as possible before I put them out. So one of the factors that you do want to consider, how are you going to use the onion? If you're looking for something for fresh eating, you can use any of them very easily. If you want storage onions, you're going to need to look for something specifically for storage, which is going to be like your Utah Spanish onion or your Patterson onion. Your sweet onions like Walla Walla and Candy, which are 2 I'm going to be planting, have a much shorter shelf life, usually a couple of months, and then you're going to need to process them in some way to keep them good. So you go ahead and use them as long as you can, but once you start seeing them go soft or start growing again, you're going to want to process them, either freeze dry them, dehydrate them, or put them in the freezer. So a lot of ways you can use that, but do consider if you're planting a lot of onions, how are you going to use them, because you want to make sure you have a good variety for however it is that you're going to have them. And also your storage area. I do not have a good cold storage option, so my crops do not store for as long as if you had a root cellar or if you had a really cool basement. They will last longer in that area. Something else to consider is maturity dates. I have onions I'm going to be starting today that have a maturity date of 70 days and some that have 120 days. So depending on how long of a growing season you have, and also do you want all of your onions to come out at once to be harvested at the same time? Or do you want to have a longer harvest so that you can have a longer shelf life even? So you can look at the maturity dates on the seed packets or online to choose the right ones for your area. So when you're choosing onions, you need to pay attention to your day length. There are 3 types for that. One is for the southern part of the country, which is your short day onions. One is for the center of the country, so latitudes usually between 32 and 40, 44-ish. And then you have long day onions, which is going to be your northern states as well as Canada. because they have a much longer daylight period in the middle of summer. I will link a website below that you can look up your daylight hours. If you're kind of a data nerd like I am, it's kind of fun to see. I have 9 hours of daylight right now, and between May 7th and between May 7th and August 7th-ish, I have 14 to 15 hours of daylight. I am in the intermediate area because I'm at latitude 38, but I'm on the northern part of that, so I can just eke into the long day onions because we have almost 15 hours of daylight at our longest period of time. But we have 2 months minimum at 14 hours or more. So let's go ahead and plant some seeds, talk a little bit more about that and about the types that I'm planting. So I'm going to be planting a variety of intermediate day onions as well as long day onions. I've got 3 of each, I believe. I also have a couple of storage onions and some sweet onions. I have seeds from Johnny's, from Territorial Seed Company, and Botanical Interest. And what I'm going to do 2 trays. I've got 6 types, so I'm going to go ahead and do 2 full trays. So I'm going to do 4 cells each. So it'll be 24 of each type of onion. And the first one I've got is Johnny's candy onion. It's a hybrid onion. It is intermediate day. It's good for latitudes of 33 to 40. So if you're planting it from seed directly outside, it's 110 days in the spring planting. But it did say to take 10 to 15 days off if you're transplanting. So we're looking at about 100-day maturity on this. It is a hybrid, and for Johnny's, this is a $6 seed packet, but it does say it has about 250 seeds in it. So they're little black seeds, which is going to be a little difficult to see. But what we want to do is to go ahead and get them about 1/4 of an inch into the soil. I'm just going to take my pen here, make a little divot. And what I'm going to do this year, I know a lot of people will plant a whole bunch of seeds in one cell. I want to have as big a plants as I can before I put these out. So I am going to put 1 seed per cell to give them as much expansion room and lack of competition as I possibly can. What I'm using for a medium is a seed starting mix. This happens to be a Spoma's because I had it left over from last year, but usually I will just use the Burpees seed starting mix that I can get at my local Meijer. It has a little bit of nutrient in it, as I believe this does as well. But you do want to try to use a seed starting mix when you begin, for the most part. Potting soil, unless you use a strainer on it, tends to be a little bit too heavy. So I'm going to put 1 seed per cell. And candy onion is a sweet onion. It is a hybrid and a derivative. It's a Walla Walla type onion. So the shelf life on it will be a little shorter, but it should be really good. I did grow these last year, had pretty good success. Like I said, I want them to be bigger this year. So I am starting them earlier. Another option you have, if you're watching this later on, is you can get seed starts, the plants, transplants themselves, either at like Lowe's or your big box store, or you can order them online. And what I'm comparing what I had last year to what I saw like at Lowe's, mine were so much smaller. So I'm going to start these more, like again, we're starting a lot earlier because of that. I want to have pencil size onion plants when I put them out, instead of ones that look like little straw, teeny tiny straws. All right, I do need to get my labels. Something that I saw on Johnny's website, which I'm going to try for next year, going into the 26th season, is actually planting some of these out for the candy onions. So if you live in at least a zone 6 According to Johnny's, as long as you do not have temperatures below -10, you can actually plant these in August and have even bigger bulbs come the next spring, and they could be actually an earlier harvest. So I'm going to try that with some of these. Candy is one of those, and a couple of the other ones I have are also listed that way. So, Candy, and that is a yellow hybrid onion. This next one is Scout. It's also an intermediate day onion. The next one is going to be the Patterson. This is a territorial seed, but you can get this at a lot of places. It was $3.95 for this packet, half a gram. The Johnnies say they have a minimum of 250 seeds, but these were about $6 a piece. So a little bit more, but they may have more seeds in. So Patterson is the first, it's a storage onion. It's also a long day onion. So it is one that's going to be interesting to try. My kitty cat is wanting attention, if you can hear her. As soon as I start doing the video, she's like, I want the attention. So the Patterson is a storage onion, so it will have a much longer shelf life than the other ones. And it is also a yellow bulbing onion. And it is, like I said, it is a long day variety. And it has a 104-day maturity. So it is good for latitudes 38 to 55. So this one is right on the edge of where I'm at. So we'll have to see how this goes. I've not planted Patterson before, but I know a lot of others have had really good luck with it. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. Like, again, this one is right on the edge of almost being out of range for me. But we'll try it. Why not? I mean, give it an experiment, see what works and see what doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead and get some labels, and then we'll get the other seed packets and get them ready. So we'll be right back. So I can't find my labels. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just use a sticky note to mark the trays, and then I'll find my labels later. But I'm going to go ahead and mark both sides of the tray, because what I will do once these start to grow is I will actually turn them so they will be in different directions, and I'll be able to see from both sides what is in that. So I'm going to go ahead and get these sprayed in. I'm not going to put vermiculite on it right now because it's in the shed and it is pouring out. Right now I don't want to go outside. But I'll be careful how I'm watering because I want to avoid creating algae on these. I do have a fan going on the grow room right now with my indoor garden, so they should be good. Once they do sprout, I will be watering from below, which will help reduce the amount of algae as well. So we'll just give these a nice little spritz, get them tucked in. And then the last step at this point is to put a humidity dome on top of it. This will help again to create this moisture in the soil without getting too much and creating algae. Once they do start to sprout, then we'll take the humidity dome off. Okay. So put this over here, and we will start with our second tray. And I'm going to go ahead, I watered these. I had intended to do these about a week ago. But I got sick, and then the holidays happened, so I'm a little bit behind. I had wanted, again, to have these going a week or two ago. But life happens, so we're going to go ahead and get it done now. So go ahead and get a little bit of moisture in. I did pre-moisten this because what we want to make sure is that we don't have any air pockets. When roots hit air pockets below, they can cause the plant to dry out and die. So we need loose soil, but you do not want to have huge air pockets. And if you just put dry mix into this, you could have big gaps underneath there and not know it. So these came out of self-watering trays that I had last year. Was not happy with how they performed in that fashion. They did not keep moist evenly. So this year, I've got these trays that I bought separately. They're a really good deal. I'll link them below in the description, but really, really sturdy. I really, really like them. I've got quite a few of them now. But I'm going to use the inserts from the seed starting trays with my new 1020 trays. They do not have holes in them, so they will retain the water, and I will be able to water from below after they start to germinate. All right. So the next three that we are going to do are Bridger, Walla Walla, and Flat of Italy. Flat of Italy is a red onion. It's also an intermediate day. It has only a 70-day maturity, so this is a much shorter day or shorter maturity rate for an onion than the others. The other ones are usually 90 to 125. But this one came from Botanical Interest. Walla Walla is a long day with a very long maturity date on it. And Bridger is a 90-day maturity date on it. And Bridger is the first one I actually saw that talked about winter sowing. So the Bridger, the Candy, and the Walla Walla all recommended planting in August for an early spring harvest. So I'm going to do that. So Bridger, Walla Walla, and Candy for sure. But probably I will be using some of the other ones that way as well. So we're going to go ahead and just plant these up just like the others. I spray those with water, and I've got them in the grow room. I'll show you that here. And also some of the other stuff that I've got growing in the grow room. I've got some tomatoes and peppers that I'm already growing. I've actually gotten some tomatoes off of the micro tomatoes already. And the peppers, a lot of them have flowers on them, so I'm hoping to have some peppers. So if you want to see what to do once they are ready to transplant out in the garden, check this video out. And until the next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.